If she stopped texting you tomorrow, would you panic or would you become unforgettable? Because the moment you stop chasing is the moment the game quietly changes. Listen carefully. Most men are taught to impress, to perform, to prove. But attraction doesn't grow from performance. It grows from presence. And presence is built on something ancient, something unshakable, stoic restraint. Here's the first secret. Emotional control is magnetic. When a woman tests you, and she will, she's not looking for perfection. She's looking for stability. If she teases you, challenges you, pulls back slightly, and your energy spikes, you've already lost ground. But if you remain grounded, calm, almost amused, you communicate something powerful without saying a word. I am not moved by turbulence. Most men react. The rare man responds. A stoic man understands that attraction thrives in uncertainty. He doesn't overshare too early. He doesn't flood her phone with paragraphs. He allows silence to breathe. Because silence creates curiosity, and curiosity creates pursuit. Second secret, detach from the outcome. The moment you need her to like you, you subtly hand over your power. Neediness is loud. It whispers in your tone, your timing, your body language. Stoicism teaches indifference to results, not coldness, composure. When you're genuinely okay whether she stays or leaves, something shifts. You stop trying to win her, and she starts trying to understand you. And understanding is the beginning of obsession. Third secret, build a life she has to step into. Women are drawn to momentum, not chaos, not arrogance, momentum. A man moving towards something meaningful, fitness, purpose, business, mastery, radiates direction, and direction signals safety, emotional safety, future safety, psychological safety. If she feels like she's joining your journey rather than becoming your entire journey, she leans in. Fourth secret, speak less, mean more. Stoics understand the power of economy. Don't explain yourself endlessly. Don't defend every opinion. Say what you mean. Pause. Hold eye contact. Let your words land. The man who can sit in silence without scrambling to fill it is rare, and rarity creates value. Now here's what most people won't tell you. Attraction isn't built through constant availability. It's built through controlled access. You don't respond instantly every time. You don't cancel your plans to accommodate hers. You don't rearrange your world to fit into hers. You maintain your rhythm, and if she wants in, she adjusts. This isn't about manipulation, it's about self-respect. When you respect your time, your energy, your mission, others follow your lead. A stoic man doesn't chase validation. He doesn't overreact to praise or crumble under criticism. He remains centered, and that centered energy feels rare in a world addicted to emotional extremes. Here's the uncomfortable truth. People chase what they can't fully control. If you're predictable, always available, always agreeable, there's nothing to pursue. But when you're grounded, calm, slightly mysterious, not because you're hiding, but because you're fulfilled, she begins to lean forward, not because you demanded it, but because your presence feels like a challenge she wants to understand. And the moment she starts wondering what you're thinking, you've already stepped into a different league. Here's something nobody admits out loud. Attraction deepens when you stop trying to be impressive and start being unshakable. The fifth secret is this: master your reactions. She cancels last minute. She takes hours to reply. She mentions another guy in conversation. Most men feel the emotional spike instantly. Jealousy, anxiety, the urge to prove themselves, but the stoic man observes the feeling and chooses not to feed it. That restraint does something powerful. It communicates abundance, not fake abundance, not pretending you have options. Real abundance, the mindset that your worth is not decided by one person's attention. When you don't compete for her validation, you subtly position yourself above the competition. Because desperate men compete, grounded men select, and when she senses that you're evaluating her just as much as she's evaluating you, the dynamic shifts. She begins investing more, asking more questions, seeking reassurance from you instead of the other way around. The sixth secret: never argue for your value. If she questions your ambition, your schedule, your boundaries, don't defend with long explanations. calmly state your standard and let it stand. A stoic presence doesn't debate its worth. It demonstrates it through consistency. Confidence isn't loud, it's stable. When you hold your boundaries without anger, without emotional explosions, you create tension, the good kind. The kind that makes her think about you after the conversation ends. Because you didn't react how most men do. You didn't plead. You didn't over-explain. You didn't chase. You held frame. The seventh secret is subtle, but devastatingly effective: strategic unpredictability. Humans are wired to pay attention to patterns. If you text every morning at 9 a.m., compliment her the same way, respond with the same energy, you become predictable. Comfort grows, but excitement fades. Stoicism doesn't mean monotony. It means intentional control. Sometimes you end the conversation first. Sometimes you're warm. Sometimes you're focused on your world, not to play games, but because your life is genuinely dynamic. Predictability feels safe. Unpredictability feels exciting. The balance of both feels addictive. Now understand this clearly. Women don't chase men who are emotionally chaotic. They chase men who are emotionally disciplined, but slightly out of reach. That out-of-reach energy comes from internal validation. When you don't constantly seek reassurance, when you don't fish for compliments, when you don't panic over small shifts in attention. Eighth secret: cultivate physical and mental discipline. Your body language speaks before your words ever do. Stand slower, move with intention, maintain eye contact half a second longer than average. Speak at a measured pace. These are micro-signals of control. Control signals strength. Strength signals security. Security builds attraction. And here's something even deeper. When you control your impulses in small things, like not checking your phone every few minutes or not interrupting her mid-sentence, you train yourself to control bigger emotional waves. Self-mastery is visible. She may not consciously say, "He's stoic," but she'll feel it. She'll feel that being around you lowers emotional noise, that your presence doesn't beg, doesn't rush, doesn't cling. And in a world filled with men reacting instantly to every notification, every mood swing, every insecurity, the man who pauses wins, because patience is power. And power, when worn quietly, makes people lean in closer, not because they have to, but because they want to understand what makes you so steady. Most men lose the woman they want long before she walks away. Not because they weren't attractive, not because they weren't successful, but because they became emotionally predictable. The ninth secret is this: protect your mystery without playing games. There's a difference between being secretive and being layered. A stoic man doesn't reveal his entire history, his fears, his ambitions, and his vulnerabilities all at once. He understands pacing. Depth is revealed over time, not dumped in a single late-night conversation. When you reveal everything too quickly, there's nothing left to discover. Discovery fuels desire. Think about it. When she doesn't fully know how you'll react, what you're thinking, or how deeply you feel, her mind fills in the blanks. And imagination is always more powerful than information. You don't need to manufacture distance. You simply maintain inner fullness. You have thoughts you don't always verbalize, plans you're quietly executing, standards you don't negotiate, and that internal world creates gravity. Here's what most people misunderstand. Attraction is not built on constant reassurance. It's built on earned access. When she earns your time by respecting it, when she earns your vulnerability by showing consistency, when she earns your emotional depth by demonstrating maturity, the bond strengthens naturally. A stoic man doesn't rush attachment. He observes patterns. He watches how she handles stress, how she speaks about others, how she reacts when she doesn't get her way. And while she's analyzing you, you're calmly analyzing her. That dynamic alone changes everything. The 10th secret is the most powerful of all: emotional independence. If your mood rises and falls based on her attention, she will feel it. If your energy collapses when she pulls back slightly, she will sense the imbalance. Emotional independence doesn't mean you don't care. It means you don't collapse. You have hobbies, you have friendships, you have routines that exist whether she texts you or not. And because of that, when you give her attention, it feels intentional, not desperate. Women chase emotional security, but they are drawn to emotional strength. The ability to say, "I enjoy you," without silently meaning, "I need you." There's a calm intensity in that energy. You compliment her without overdoing it. You flirt without overcommitting. You invest without overextending. And when conflict arises, because it always does, you don't raise your voice. You lower it. You don't escalate. You slow down. You don't threaten to leave impulsively. You create space and return centered. That stability becomes addictive. Because most people don't know how to regulate themselves. Imagine being the one person in her life who doesn't emotionally spiral, the one who doesn't guilt trip, the one who doesn't flood her with insecurity when she needs a moment. You become her emotional reset. And here's the quiet truth beneath all of this. When you stop trying to be chosen, you become choosy. When you stop fearing loss, you stop acting from fear. When you stop chasing, you start attracting. Stoicism isn't about suppressing emotion. It's about mastering it. Feeling deeply, but responding wisely. Caring genuinely, but never abandoning your self-respect. And when she realizes that your attention is a privilege, not a guarantee, something awakens inside her. She leans in. Not because you begged, not because you convinced, but because your steadiness feels rare, and rare things are pursued. There's one final truth most men never confront. The moment you fear losing her, you start losing yourself, and when you lose yourself, attraction quietly fades. The real power of stoicism isn't about making someone chase you. It's about becoming the kind of person who doesn't need to chase anyone. Ironically, that's what makes pursuit happen naturally. You see, when you internalize these principles, emotional control, detachment from outcomes, disciplined presence, steady boundaries, layered depth, independence, something changes in your nervous system. You stop operating from urgency. You move from certainty. Urgency repels. Certainty attracts. When you walk into a room without scanning for approval, when you speak without seeking validation, when you listen without trying to impress, your energy shifts from "do you like me" to "do we align?" That question alone transforms your posture, your tone, your decisions. A stoic man is selective with his energy. He doesn't entertain endless drama. He doesn't reward inconsistency with increased effort. If she pulls away, he doesn't panic. He mirrors the distance calmly, not to manipulate, but to protect his equilibrium. And here's what happens when you do that. She feels the space. Not the space of anger, not the space of punishment, the space of self-containment. And in that space, she has room to miss you. People don't chase what is constantly in front of them. They chase what feels valuable enough to possibly lose. When you're always available, always initiating, always accommodating, you remove the possibility of loss. But when you have standards, when you calmly walk away from disrespect, when you refuse to negotiate your core values, you introduce consequence. Not loud consequence, quiet consequence. You don't argue endlessly. You don't threaten. You simply adjust your investment. That adjustment speaks louder than any speech. Over time, she begins to feel the difference between men who react emotionally and a man who responds strategically. She notices you don't compete for attention. You don't overpost for validation. You don't fish for jealousy. Your world continues moving forward regardless. And that forward motion creates gravitational pull. Now understand this clearly. The goal isn't to create anxiety in her. It's to create admiration. Admiration grows when she sees that you choose her, not because you're afraid of being alone, but because you genuinely value her presence. Choice feels powerful. Need feels heavy. When she senses that you're with her by decision, not desperation, she invests differently. She initiates more. She reaches out first. She thinks about how to keep your attention. Because deep down, everyone wants to feel they earned something rare. And you become rare when you master yourself. So ask yourself honestly, are you operating from fear of losing or strength of being? Are you texting to connect or to secure reassurance? Are you setting standards or negotiating them for temporary comfort? The chase begins the moment you stop chasing. Not because you became distant, but because you became disciplined. Now I want you to answer something personally. Have you ever noticed how differently someone treats you when you stop overgiving and start respecting your own boundaries. Tell me in the comments, what's one boundary you're going to strengthen starting today? If this hit deeper than you expected, like the video, subscribe for more psychology truths they don't teach you, and share this with someone who needs to hear it before they lose themselves trying to keep someone else.